Hi, I'm Pam Cullen from 3 Mile Pond Girl Creates, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Augusta, Maine. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card using the Trucking Along bundle, which includes the Trucking Along stamp set as well as the Truck Punch. So this is an online exclusive product that you can only get in my online store. It's not available in either of the catalogs, so you would have to just go over and shop at my store to get this. And unfortunately, well, fortunately and unfortunately, this has been a hugely popular bundle. And right now, the Truck Punch is not available and isn't expected to be back in stock until October. Hopefully it will come back a little bit sooner than that, but that's the estimated arrival time now. So the stamp set is available, but not the punch. And this is a really great stamp set because you're not limited just to Christmas for this, because you have several different options of things that you can put in the back of your truck. And so there's a couple of floral pieces, there's some palm trees and trees that you can use for background pieces. And I love these little rails that you can put on the back of the truck. And the sentiment, sending sunny thoughts your way, every day is a fresh start. So it's an all-season stamp set, not just for Christmas. But today, the card I'm going to be featuring is a Christmas card. So let me show you some of the other products that we're going to use to make this card. I used for this focal piece for our card, I used the tailor-made tags. And I'm going to be using the largest of this set of the tailor-made tags. And as you can see, that will just cut out our piece right there for the truck to sit on. And then I've used the exposed brick 3D embossing folder to put a little bit more texture on the front of the card. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it puts a nice, it just gives you a nice textured layer to put that piece on. And then we have some of this nice black and white gingham ribbon, and it's thin, which I like, and it's really easy to work with. You can tie really great bows with this. So this is the gingham ribbon. And then the inks that we're going to be using, we only have 3 inks for this piece today, so we're going to be using, whoops, I take that back, going to be using 4. We need our Real Red, Garden Green, Crumb Cake, and our Memento Black ink, because this is a 2-step stamping set, as you'll see. And so you stamp the outline stamp, and then you stamp the full one on top. So we're going to be stamping each of these, as you'll see as we go along, in the black ink for our outline stamps, and then we'll fill in with the colored stamps afterwards. And then we've used the garden green ink for our sentiment here. So then the pieces that we have for this, there aren't too many pieces for this, so we're going to use a piece of Real Red that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then we have our 5 1/4 by 4 piece that's going to be that layer for the front, and a basic white 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 by 4, spit it out. Then we have a scrap piece of crumb cake for our die cutting, and we have a scrap piece of basic white for stamping our truck and for our Christmas tree in the back. So that's our pieces, and that's what we're going to be doing. And so I'm just going to grab my Real Red, because I forgot to bring that one over, and we will get started with our stamping. So I'm going to move these out of the way so we can get some space to work here. And because this is a photopolymer stamp set, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I have just put a piece of copier paper over the top of this just to protect the mat from ink and glue and all of those things. So we'll be using that for our stamping. So first I'm going to bring in our scrap piece of paper, and we're going to be using several, like I said, we have several stamps to use for this. Not many inks, but we've got several stamps to bring in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp the outline for the truck in our Memento Black ink. So we're going to stamp that down here. There we go. Isn't that cute? I just think that truck is so cute. And the thing about the truck is that you can, there's so many options. You can make this truck any color you want to. And so there's a lot of flexibility with that too. It's really fun. I've seen it in blue and yellow and brown with some antique looking. So there's tons and tons of options. So then we're going to bring in that solid stamp, and I'm going to try, I hope my head isn't in here, I'm going to try to line this up. There's some little white pieces which I've used the stamp a while, so now it's pink, so it's a little harder to see that, but I'm going to try to line those fender pieces up and see how we do here. Oh, that came out pretty good. Okay, so there's our truck. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put that tree into the back of the truck. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our outline stamp and put that in the Memento black ink again. And as you can see, we've got a little angle on that stamp, which is the part that's supposed to go in the back of the truck. So I'm going to try to line that up with the side and the back of the truck. See how we do here. There we go. So there's our truck in there, our tree. So then we'll bring in our garden green ink and our solid tree piece. And now we'll do the same thing. We're going to line that up over. And this is the nice part about the photopolymer stamps, because you can see through them, so you can see to line that up. So there's our truck inside of our tree. So we're cruising along here. Then the next thing we're going to do is we have this piece for the wheels that's going to fill in these two pieces here. And this one, you want to put it, the way I remember is like a smiley face. So you want to have this lined up so your dots are at the top. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to ink that up in the black. And I try to line up the dots on here, and sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't, but it's pretty forgiving. If you didn't fit, whoops, I missed it on the front a little bit, but see, that's still okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. So then we're going to put our Farm Fresh, this cute little stamp. It's very little, but it's so cute. We're going to stamp that Farm Fresh again in our black ink right on the side of this truck door. There we go. Okay, so our truck is all stamped, and I didn't put a sentiment on the inside of my card, but you can put any sentiment that you want to in there. So while we're stamping, before we start cutting this out, while we have our inks out, I'm going to bring in my tag, and I've already cut that. I just took the piece of scrap and the largest of those dies, and this is what I came up with. So now I have my tag that I can stamp on. So we'll set this aside for just a minute. We'll bring this in, and we're going to bring back our garden green ink, and we're going to be using the Wishing You a Festive Christmas stamp in the garden green ink. Whoops, I'm going to clean this off because I got it where I didn't want it here. Let's try that again. Get a good stamp on that. Okay, and I'm going to put this down near the bottom of that tag so we make sure that we have enough room for our truck to go on top of that. So there's our tags stamped up. Is that all we need to do for stamping? Yep, that is all we need to do for stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and close these ink pads up so we don't have a mess here. Put these stamps aside. Now, one of the things that I didn't do on this card, but I want to do on this card, is I want to make this look a little sponge dauber. They come like this. You get 5 or 6 in a package. And I'm going to take a sponge dauber and I'm going to just put it in that crumb cake ink. And I want to just hit the edges of this tag to just kind of make it so it's not so just the solid. I don't know, I just felt like it needed a little something something here, so I'm going to put that on this time and see how it looks. So that's all you do is just take it and lightly and you can put as much as you want on. I mean, you can keep going with this and go a little bit farther on the edges. It's up to you, whatever you want that to look like for your card. There, I like that. I think that gives it a little bit more of an antique look or something. So there. All right, so now we're done with all of our inks. And then we'll go ahead and cut out, we're going to cut this out of our white piece of paper. And this is not difficult to do. And actually, with the punch, you can't put anything in the back first to punch this out. You would have to punch it, and then you can stamp these individually and put them up on dimensionals and do it that way. But you can't. You have to punch your truck out before you put anything in the back. So there's a lot. You know, you can use the punch or not use the punch. So there's flexibility with this set as well. And this is, you know, a pretty easy thing. Sometimes it's difficult if there's a lot of edges and a lot of things to what you've stamped, that it makes it difficult to do fussy cutting, but this one is not difficult at all. So when you're cutting, you want to hold your scissors in place and move your paper, and it works out a little bit easier to do your cutting and to stay a little bit more on track of where you want to go there. So there we go. We're almost done with this piece. We're almost done with this card. This is a quick and easy card, but I think it's really pretty. If you wanted to mass produce your Christmas cards, this would be a great set to start on. And I always say I'm going to get a head start on my Christmas cards, and I never do. It's always good in theory. So then we're going to just take this and we're going to pop this piece up on some dimensionals. Got my dimensionals here. I think we only need a couple on here. Well, let's do 3. So make sure we get a good, that's right. So we'll pop those up. And then we're going to center this in the middle of our tag. And then we're going to also, I'll keep those out because we're going to also puff this whole piece on dimensionals, but I want to put our piece of ribbon in first. So we're just going to thread this through that little tag hole. I probably think I have more ribbon than I need here, but I have more than not enough. So then we're going to just tie this. Let's see how this goes, tying on camera. And I wasn't sure, I really wasn't sure which way my loops should go. I think it looks fine either way. So you can decide if you want your loops on the inside or the outside of this. Totally up to you. I kept twisting mine around because I wasn't really sure which way I wanted it to go. There. All right, so then we're just going to trim those tails up. Have those as long as you'd like. Go. And so now we're just going to put some dimensionals on the back of this piece. some in here. All right, take those backs off. Hear Frankie on the move here, my dog Frankie, so hopefully he'll be quiet for a few more minutes while we get this video done. So let's bring our pieces in. We have our real red, and we're going to glue that embossed piece. I've already embossed that, so we're going to glue that embossed piece to the front. Our liquid glue. And this is a little bit smaller, so you'll have a little bit of space on the top and the bottom and the sides. And then we'll just go ahead and stick our stamped piece on the center of that. Oh, I like that. I really like that with the little bit of ink on the edges of that tag. I think that adds a nice feature to this card. So then we'll just take our piece of basic white, 5 1/4 by 4 basic white piece, put that on the inside of our card, and I can go ahead and stamp a sentiment in here later on if I decide I want to do that, or I can just write on the inside my own sentiment. Okay, well, we are, whoops, stuck to my page here. Okay, so that, like I said, that was a quick and easy card, but I love the look of this. And so this is the first card that I created, and this is the one we did together today. And I really do think that that crumb cake on the edges of that really does add so much to the front of the card. So this is our card using the Trucking Along bundle, and hopefully that punch will be back in stock soon, but if not, this just goes to show you that you can still get the stamp set, still make some beautiful cards without the punch. And so I just want to remind you that this month all of the kits in the kit collection are on sale. And so those are great gifts for folks who are just starting out with stamping or have never stamped before. And some of the kits have no stamping, some have some stamping included with it, but if there's stamping involved, they give you the stamp set, the ink spot, and everything you need to create beautiful things. So I would head over, I'll put a link in this video to the kit collection so you can see all of those great things that are on sale. Those are only on sale. They're available all the time, but they're only on sale through the end of August. And then we kick off our new mini catalog in September, and that has some beautiful and amazing fall, Halloween, holiday things in it. So I think you're really going to enjoy the products in that catalog. So if you don't have a catalog, send me an email with your contact information and I'll send one right out to you. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you do that. And you can click on the little bell and it will notify you each time I post a new video. And yes, I think that's all for me from here today. So thanks again for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.